277th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of November 2017. This episode is titled Wrapping Up Dreamforce 17. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by Arkus. We are hiring. If you're a Salesforce consultant or admin, you want to be part of a unique company, send your resume to careers@arkusinc.com. I'm your host, Jason No Voice Atwood.
Yeah, you lost it there.
My co-host, Justin No Voice Edelstein.
You tried to go high, and it just didn't.
I went low.
You went low.
Yeah, that's what Michelle taught me. How you doing, Justin?
Surprisingly okay.
Let me ask you a question that I haven't asked anybody in the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
How was your Dreamforce?
How's your Dreamforce?
How's your Dreamforce going?
It was the best one ever, of course. The best one yet.
It
was the best one yet, obviously.
Totes obs.
It was actually one of my favorite Dreamforces in quite a while.
It's funny because I think we always, you and I and the partner that shall not be named, and blogger who should not be named, we usually go and come on the same plane, and we usually take the cab to the airport and together. I think we've almost done that every year.
Pretty much.
Right. So we always get in the cab and we're all tired and whatever. And I don't know, usually I'm kind of chipper and I'm like, so how was it? And over the years, I feel like you've gone, oh, it was good or okay. And oh, this one's terrible. But yeah, you were super paused, but I feel like you've now reflected and you're more paused. You're more paused. Let's go to the wall in our favorite segment here called Let's Go to the Justometer. Where are you on the Justometer? I think you're like a 6.4.
Out of what?
Out of 10.
No, I'm better than that.
You're smiling.
I'm
you got
better
some
than
sleep
that.
Last night.
I did get some sleep last night, and I did just go for a lower leg massage.
Yes.
Foot and lower leg. That should be in the tips. Like, do that the day you get home.
I wish I
Don't
had
work.
time
Just
to do it today.
go to a spa or a nail place or whatever, and have them work on your feet and your calves and your shins.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that helps. It really does. It's relaxing, and those parts of your body hurt.
Yeah.
After Dreamforce. I mean, you look, on average, you're taking like 20,000 steps a day.
Yep.
You're on your feet forever. You're doing like 5 to 10 miles of walking.
Oh, more than that. 20,000, it's like 7 miles, 8 miles.
That's what I said, 5 to 10, so somewhere in there.
Yeah, kind of like 5.2.
That worked. And, you know, if you're going to parties and you're on your feet till the break of dawn, you're really tired. And your legs just go. So all the other tips are good. You know, I stayed hydrated, stayed caffeinated.
Yes.
For the most part, ate. I know you kind of messed that up a little bit.
I just get caught in this whirlwind of events where I have to get going, and then it's like the breakfast is like, okay, grab a banana and then figure it out, and then lunch is like, oh crap, I don't have lunch, and then it's like, oh, I'll just figure it out, and then I'm at a party and there's an hors d'oeuvre and I'm like, okay, I'll just figure it out, and then there was a time period there, I think it was Thursday morning.
You told me like, I haven't eaten in 48 hours, let's go eat breakfast, and you ordered like everything on the left side of the menu.
I needed I needed real substantive food. Like right now I'm craving like a salad. Because I didn't get a chance to eat like a salad.
Right.
So
I did a good job. Yeah, plain food's rough.
It's all terrible.
I did a good job of not having anything really scheduled early. The only things that were scheduled for me that were early were breakfasts.
Right. But you actually went and ate breakfast.
That's right. They were breakfasts.
Like we did the 5K fun runs, like come back, grab a banana.
Right. I had a breakfast afterwards.
Right. So what you're saying is food first.
Schedule breakfasts. I think that goes on the tip for next year.
Right.
Schedule breakfast meetings.
Well, now you've been at 10 Dreamforces. You can actually do here's my 10 tips
here's
for 10
my
years.
10 for 10.
I'll just copy this and add, or I'll make,
I'll do 11 for 11.
Yeah. Or we could do a combined. Here's 21 tips from 21 years worth of Dreamforce
This is good.
experience.
This is a good timing for this podcast because I'm writing a wrap up or recap blog post that we'll publish next week.
Right.
And I've got my little outline in front of me because I started outlining it on Monday.
Oh, I wish I could
and
see
I started
this
jotting it
document.
down. It's private for now.
Okay.
And I started jotting some things in there. So that's good.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about Dreamforce.
Let's do it.
I mean, I feel like it happened either 100 years ago or like 4 seconds ago.
4 seconds ago.
There's
for
something
me.
about coming back that it just wipes my brain. I get back, I was like, and I don't I don't like this schedule. Like next year, we already know when it is, 25th through 28th. That I actually like better.
You like the Tuesday through Friday.
I like the Friday, come back on a Friday, and you're done. This coming back on the Thursday, and Friday being like, oh, I still got to kind of do stuff. And I was stupid. I scheduled something this morning. Like,
No.
I know,
No,
but I
nothing.
just, when you're looking at your calendar, it's like, oh, you got this whole day open. I can have someone come in the office and meet with them. That'd be great. And I woke up this morning, I'm like, why in God's name did you schedule something on a Friday in the office? Oh, it's 30 degrees out. You could have like snuggled all day in the den, never even got out of my PJs. But I decided to like
That's what I'm doing today.
go to the
Look at
go
me.
out and go to the. I know you are. You're in red.
I did shower though.
That I have not yet. So there you go.
Did shower.
I'm gonna try to go to the gym later.
All of this thing won't come off my hand.
Oh, that's a stupid thing. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's kind of go day by day. We came in late because we had previous engagements on Sunday, so we
Yeah.
couldn't find Sunday. Normally, I would have flown in on Saturday
Me too.
because then we would do Sunday football,
All day.
and then we would go. Then we do start off on Monday.
That's right.
I know I would have been 17 times more beat down now because
'cause
I feel like we
Sundays-
kind of went in, did
Sunday's
it, and
rough.
left.
Sunday's rough when you do this when you fly in Saturday and it doesn't start till Monday. The Sunday's like kind of a long day.
Yeah, well, not if you're watching football. It's a nice day.
Well,
Start
you're
at 10 a.m.
I know, but it's a long day. You start
Yeah.
at 10 a.m. Start going
But
to
this
a
way,
bar.
like I don't feel like I ever got accustomed to the timing. I just went in, powered through, and got out.
Yeah, I got the last day was rough for me.
I feel like this is a different way to do it. Anyway, we flew in on Monday. We basically got there in just enough time to get to the hotel and then get to the keynote.
Yeah, we got to the Mark Benioff keynote.
Yes. So thoughts on the keynote?
Trailblazers abound.
Yeah, I mean, predicting that Trailhead was going to be all over this was pretty obvious, pretty
Yeah,
easy.
nailed that one.
Trailhead is, and so I've already kind of done this because a client asked me, hey, what was, like, give me the highlights. They didn't go. And I said, it's all about because that's kind of the theme, I think. I mean, Trailblazers and Trailhead was definitely a huge theme, but was the theme. That
Fourth Industrial Revolution was also a huge theme.
I had that last year.
That slide that used to be now I've been at 10 Dreamforces. That slide that
I
used
remember
to
when I was
be
at Dreamforce
last year.
Yeah.
So remember they used to show
I love you
this,
could never catch up.
well,
Unless
I
if I
can.
get sick and
I
don't
will
go.
I will chop you down.
Yeah, you have to live longer than me. It's like, I'm in my 85th, and
I will
Jason's dead.
chop off your left pinky toe next year just before. You know how they used to have that slide where it's like 60s mainframe,
Right.
70s and 80s, client server, and then cloud, and then they added mobile to the end of it. Well, now they just like they bundled it into the four industrial revolutions:
Right.
steam, electricity, computing, whatever this one is.
IoT.
This one.
This one. I like it as a theme. I like it. I don't get too caught up. I think that's my tip for, maybe I should do a 10 tips for people who've gone to too many Dreamforces.
Whatever the words are that they say over and over and over, just leave them.
Yeah.
Leave them be.
And I've given up because we went to this special. I think it would be fun to talk about it if we got time. But like the COA session.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Because all right, well, I'll just break it in now since we'll do in reverse order. So COA is Hawaiian for brave,
In the name of Mark's
and it was the name
dog.
of Mark's dog.
Mark. Mark. Our buddy Mark.
Mark.
Mark Benioff.
And so it was started as, and I've known this because I knew this before because I remember when our friend Erica Gould got into COA. It's when you've been there for 10 years, you're in the COA club. And this year they changed it and brought in not just employees but customers. And so I got a lot of invites to things, and I was only able to attend. I mean, I could barely attend half the things I'm supposed to go to, but I was only able to attend the 1-hour chat with Maria and Parker about and it was a COA special. It was cute, very small room, like whatever. Got up there.
Yeah.
None of that was really important. The important piece was that I know that the leadership of Salesforce knows that the way they do marketing and sales, or marketing at least, is not right. Like that, he said, like, oh, last year we promised you all these things, and maybe we've delivered on some of them now, and he knows that it's kind of
we lead with marketing.
He knows it's kind of BS, and they throw out stuff that isn't really true or there, And so I guess it makes me feel a little bit better. And the way I take it is, like, they know they're doing this. They know this is, and I say this every year in our post Dreamforce wrap up. I'm like, that keynote's not for me. Like, it's not for you. It's for the first, second timers. Those people really, they get into it because it's there's some great stuff in there. I actually now I look at it as like tradition, like the holiday traditions. So I'm sitting there going, when's he going to do the joke? And even this time he's like, the 111 joke. And this time he's like, I've been doing that for 14 times and it gets a laugh every time. And like, if I don't hear that, I'm upset. It's like if I don't see Mark Madrid, I'm upset. Like there's some things I want to do at Dreamforce, and hearing that in the keynote is kind of like I have to say, oh, and making fun of Parker, and I guess he didn't dress up this year, but I think that's part of it. You just have to you have to take it with huge grains of salt and know that it's part of the play. The playbook for Salesforce is, kind of overpromise and then deliver. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
And sometimes it's years.
Yeah.
Remember during that COA session, Parker's mentioned there was a video from like 5 keynotes ago, 5 years ago, like some Activision video that they did. And he's like, yeah, we did that video. And then like, you can probably do that stuff now.
Right.
That was 5 years ago.
Right.
5 years ago.
And I think that's, if you are a traditional admin, if you're someone who's been around sales for a long time, it can get very upsetting to think like, well, why do you keep showing me the stuff I can't use? And
or this augmented reality thing that Coca-Cola is doing in Germany.
Right. Or drones that deliver Coke, because you still can't get drones to deliver Coke.
No.
Like
they don't do it.
So I think, and I think I probably say this every year, it's about vision. And I think Salesforce is very good at setting a vision and then making it happen. They set the vision for mobile long before they actually delivered on it. And now they're delivering on it. There are things that they actually are truly going to deliver on, and you will get in your hands and you can walk away. And sometimes they say it's right now. And that's happened a couple of times. But, Dreamforce, we talked about this in the COA session. You and I were kind of going back and forth. And I said,
which we didn't record.
Which we didn't. I was like, no, it's one of the many podcasts we don't record. Sorry. I would love a Dreamforce where, and I know they can't do it, and all the reasons are for basically stock, right? It's because they have to beat the market. But I'd love them to be like, this year, nothing that isn't something that someone's either asked for before, right? It's nothing like groundbreaking. It's just stuff you've wanted. So it'll be new features, right? It's the true to the core stuff.
Right.
It's like, we're going to go hit those ones that are hard. They say it all the time. Like, well, the reason we can't do that one feature you've been asking for 10 years is because it's hard. Well, okay. And the reason is they then go and do something else instead. So they went and did Lightning instead of doing whatever else the hard thing is. So I'd love for them to be like, listen, this year, we're not going to try to do IoT, and we're not going to try to do, all this new bang-fangled stuff. We're just going to go and like give you all the stuff you've been asking for forever. And we're going to spend an entire 3 cycles. They have their sprints. I think they're month-long sprints. And we're just going to spend all of our cycles in 1 year, 3 releases, and we're just going to give you the stuff you wanted.
We're going to retire 10 million idea points.
Well, so it's not,
set a goal.
So it's not going to be something that it's not going to be something like groundbreaking, but you're going to love it. Like, yeah. I think that if they spun it that way, as opposed to like, we're going to show you Einstein. Like, we didn't know Einstein was coming. Well, we did a little bit, but like that was new. It's like, we're going to bring AI. And then it was, we're going to bring IoT. And I wish they'd just go, listen, you kind of know what's coming because you've been asking for it. And I'd be like, yes. And they do a little bit. Did you go to the True to the Core session?
I did not.
So that's a lot of like, here, look, we really do still give you a ton of stuff. And then people got up and asked the hard questions. Well, what about this thing? And they would have to sit up there and say, it's not coming. I say anybody who loves the platform, you got to go True to the Core. It's packed, but go to True to the Core. The product managers answer those tough questions. They should make it 2 hours. Hey, Parker, Shauna.
Do it in a big room, like a bigger room.
No, I think same room. It needs to be 2 hours because they do like a half an hour. They even like do slides of all the stuff they delivered. That's great. But what we really want to do is answer questions about stuff and be honest about when things are coming. And a lot of it's like, no, like double sort on a, I forgot what it was a list view or something. And they're like, that's so hard. And it's so hard for users. And just to explain it to us why, again, they have a medium for doing this. They don't use it well enough. I have an email I'm writing to Parker, and I'm gonna include a couple maybe suggestions. One of them is there should be a period of time for any idea that's over a certain amount of points or is over a certain amount of age, right? There should be a period of time which you have to add a new update. So if it's like over 10,000 points, I don't know how many they have and where they hit, but they could figure it out, like 20%, 80%, something like that. If it's over 10,000 points and it's not delivered, the product manager has to add a quarterly or release. Every release, they have to go in and update something and tell us what's happening with it. Yeah. And the update could be, we're still not doing it. Hey guys, sorry, it's Joe from product management. We're still not doing this. But every time there should be an update. I should never go find any of these things that are in the top and see nothing for 2 years.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Right?
I was looking to do something last week where I had created a profile, but I used a platform license. It was a platform profile.
Okay.
And then, through the course of conversation, it came out like, oh, wait, all that needs to be like a Salesforce profile, not a platform profile. And I was like, oh, man, they have a lot of objects and a lot of fields, a lot of field level security, a lot of stuff. Like, it'd be really cool if I could just click a button and like do that.
Right.
Just say, take this profile, clone it, which you can. Clone profile, but you can't change the license type. Right. And just like let me clone it, and if I'm going up like to a higher license, just leave all the stuff alone, and I'll go just add the new things like the leads and the campaigns and stuff like that. And I was like, oh well, there's got to be an idea for this, so I went and I looked, and the last comment was from 4 years ago, from one of our favorite product managers who was managing profiles at the time. Yes. Then he stopped doing that.
Call his name.
It was Adam. Yeah, Adam Turman.
Adam Turman. Well, we're going to talk about it later.
He stopped doing that and started doing something else, and nobody has mentioned anything about it since. He was like, here's why that's really hard. Basically laid out, like, here's the use case, here's why it's really difficult. But what was
the status?
It was like under consideration.
Okay, so that's the thing. I think the status is the status plus the amount of points.
But it had nothing since 4 years ago.
But if it's right, but I think at that point it should be marked as not going to happen, right? Yeah. And then if there's a certain status, like under consideration, and it's then those maybe get once a year. If it's product team review, then those get updated once every thing. If they're over a certain thing, just come up with a matrix, and then that's their list. They can sort on it in Salesforce, and they must go in and do an update because that's true to the core. All the things that we were asking about was really all we're doing is getting answers that they just could have put on the idea. And then we as users would just go follow the idea. And if I see it, this is updated, a month ago or 2 months ago, and says, "Hey, we're still looking at this, but still not going to have the next 3 releases." Good, you've actually given me the information I need. You're telling me that you're either doing it or not doing it when you're thinking about doing it, or go shut up. Like literally, we're not going to do this. That's fine. I don't care. So actually, I should go put an idea if I can remember. Very tired. I'll go put an idea that they should an idea to update ideas. The idea of update. They did admit they had the Summer of Love and that they went back and tried to update a lot of ideas this year. Again, I think it should be very simple. They should just do it based on the status and points and age. Like come up with some sort of thing. Need my help, call me. I'll figure it out. And because I just don't know the numbers. And then that's it. Then every product manager, they have their list. And yes, once every release, they got to spend a day and go update maybe 50, 60 ideas.
There's a community effort, and I can't remember the name of it. I wish I
joined
did.
It. I've been doing it.
The merge?
Yep.
The idea merge?
Recategorize. Yeah, I don't know the name of it either.
I can't remember.
It's a tool. You log into it, and
it's out there.
Yeah.
Google it.
All right. Well, we barely got back money. So Keynote.
Yeah.
It was good.
Trailblazing.
I feel like
I was a little upset.
By what?
There were 3 stories, and none of them were nonprofit stories.
They did a lot of nonprofit stuff before.
Yeah, but one of the big 3 stories, like, do we need the 21st Century Fox story? Sorry, 21st Century Fox.
Oh my God!
Like, not picking on you.
Too.
Not picking on you, but I'm just saying, like, do we need 3 of those?
Nope.
Can't we just get a nonprofit story up there?
I think they should. And
there's plenty of good ones. And I'll give you one. I'll give you 3.
We saw this a couple years ago. One of my predictions was they were going to do a lot in the nonprofit space. I didn't get that right.
No, they didn't.
It was 1 year ago or a couple years ago where we made the same comment. It was like GE Financial
Coke.
and like boats or something.
Yeah, some like boat thing.
And we were like, those don't represent, like, have something in there. And then some years they've done a great job. Like they've done a lot of nonprofits. So I don't know how they picked those. He's wearing Adidas, so that was it. I know they wanted to push their commerce to cloud.
Well, that was the commerce. That was the B2B2C thing.
The other one I always say is I love tradition, right? So I love some of the traditions. Like this year we didn't have a band at the beginning. Sometimes we've got Stevie Wonder. We've gotten
Beach Boys.
Huey Lewis in the News. We've had
Beach
MC
Boys.
Hammer. We've had Beach Boys.
Right.
Love that. Like I think that would be nice to do.
Yeah.
Again, that's tradition I like. And then there's always the Hawaiian chanting, blessing thing. I wish they would announce it a little bit better and just say, this is what this is. This is why we do it, right? At Salesforce.
They're the Dreamforce ambassadors.
I made it up. I made up the speech. It's like, as you know, Salesforce has a deep connection to Hawaii because of Mark. It's fine. You can just say that. And one of the things we like to do at every Dreamforce is do this thing. Here's what's going to happen. And then you got to keep it short. You can't spend, out of a 2-hour presentation, 15 minutes doing the blessing and dancing.
You know what? They ended early.
Really?
That keynote ended early.
Did it?
When has that keynote ever ended
No,
early?
it usually goes 3.5 hours.
It was supposed to go from 3 to 5.
Well,
it went to 4:45, and it was over. And I was like, "Whoa, it's over!"
Right?
Really?
I don't think you should
Strange.
go over 2 hours. Like that's.
I'm just saying that it used to go like, well, forget the thing that's planned for after it because you're not making it.
Yeah, you're not going to that.
But they really made a concerted effort.
All right, so I thought it was good. I mean, I liked some of the announcements. I feel like, again, taking my advice, no one cares. I like seeing things more than hearing stories and seeing videos. Videos don't excite me as much. To me, cut out the Will I Am and put in more like, let me walk you through this. I know that's where the product keynotes are now, but even them, they're not enough walkie through me stuff.
Well, remember bring it back to Koa, and we were talking, and Parker was saying, we can't just come out and be like, here's, that's what True to the Core is for. We can't do that at the big keynote.
Right.
And I looked at you and I was like, I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago when there were only these 2 keynotes, and like one was more about like the business side and the little visionary stuff, and the other was like super product focused.
Right, literally. Here's
with
Sales
like
Cloud
demo
for 45
stuff.
minutes.
Exactly.
Here's Marketing Cloud for 45 minutes.
Exactly. Here's all the things. Click, click, click.
And here's the slides
and
of all the stuff
here's
we
some
delivered.
stuff we delivered. And like I remember, because it was very anti what Parker was saying at that moment and where Salesforce is in its evolution right now. He's like, we're not going to announce like these little things. And I was like, I remember a standing ovation for criteria-based sharing rules. like people literally went nuts for it.
Criteria-based sharing rules.
Yeah, I think it's just a different audience now. It used to be like hardcore, a lot of admin people in the room, and I think the audience is extremely different.
This is what's happening. The company's getting too big. The conference is getting too big, and so they're splitting it up. That's Trailhead DX.
Yeah, I got to go to that. I got to make that a thing. I can't catch up to you there because I haven't been to one yet.
There you go. I already got one ahead of you. Oh, you're gonna be mad forever. I'll be
Mad
like, this
forever.
is my 17th Trailhead DX. And you'll be like, oh, it's my 16th.
If I make it to 16 Trailhead, is it Trailhead X or Trailhead DX? There's only one D.
They're rebranding it.
Whatever it
I think
is,
it's gonna
I'm
be called
only
Trailhead Live. Someone let it slip in one of the sessions that are like, oh, and we do all these things around. We do world tours. We do we do Trailhead Live. And I was like, Trailhead Live isn't a thing. So you just gave away Trailhead DX.
Yeah.
Which you can't call something Trailhead DX.
because Destination Success is not a thing anymore.
It's gone. That's interesting. That's big news. But Trailhead DX is your product, and it's called Salesforce DX.
Right.
So you can't have something called Trailhead DX when you have a product called Salesforce DX.
I think it's just Trailhead X. That's my take.
I know,
on it.
but then people say Trailhead DX. It's
You
stupid. I
you
do.
say it.
Whatever.
You do it.
Trailhead Live is much better.
Trailhead Live's cool.
It's great. It actually
awesome.
means, and it makes you think what you're going for. I could be sitting doing badges together, which apparently is a big thing. Salesforce Saturdays, something I didn't know about.
You didn't know about Salesforce Saturday?
I didn't know about Salesforce Saturdays.
It's a thing.
Knew about user groups, and I'm like, I talked to one who runs them, and I'm like, what do you guys do? Well, we come together, we sit and we have coffee, and we do badges. I was like, okay. I'm like, what do you do? She's like, well, then I looked up at her badge count. It's like 202. I'm like, okay, you do badges.
You do lots of badges.
That's what you do. All right, so that was Keynote. Then what was Monday night? We went to a job fair.
Yeah, we did.
That was kind of fun.
Well, I did. You didn't.
I went.
You went for
and
like
then I
5
left.
minutes and you
No,
left.
15 minutes max.
Max.
It was too many people.
It was nice. First ever. And I talked to the woman who was running it, Shirlene. And I told her that it was great and that they got to figure out how to do it every year and make it a little bigger because it was a little cramped. But they were really focusing on a handful of the groups that Salesforce recognizes as like students who are either, doing like a re-careering or coming from underrepresented, trying to think of the word, underrepresented communities, thank you, in the industry, and bringing them to a job fair. Like, hey, here you go. Exactly. There was, I think, 4 or 5.
Yep.
And
they were let in with the little signs.
Yeah,
and they came
exactly.
in droves.
They came in, chatted, dropped off resumes, handed out tons of cards, and it was nice to talk to people, hear about what they were interested in. They were always interested in what we were all about and learning, and that was a fun experience on Monday night. It was
funny. It was like one like next to us was IBM, and then there was
Deloitte over
American
Express behind us,
and then Accenture.
There's Arkus.
Over there. There's Arkus. Yeah, baby. All right. So Tuesday we started off with the community 5K fun run. Awesome. Always love that. I think I've done every one. I don't think I've missed one. There's been 5 of them.
I've done all but last year when the hip wasn't right.
Yeah, when the hip wasn't right. When your hips don't lie. There too. I now have done more fun runs than you. Man, it just stinks.
You do stink. Take a shower.
After that fun run I did. Then Michelle Obama was...
Which I did not go to. I missed.
I know. That was... So, I mean, I talked to a lot of people about this. This is kind of the talk of the town. She's amazing and great, and that was...
I can only imagine. And I've always enjoyed seeing.
Although, I if I get kicked out of whatever group I'm probably going to get kicked out of it anyway, Mark Benioff has to stop doing the interviews. He just has to stop. It's just not okay. First of all, I love she arrived on time. Bill Clinton was like an hour and a half late.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. She arrived on time. It was very like sit down, chatty chat, fireside chat. 2 chairs, and she's great. She could just take any question, wrap it around. He just keeps asking the same question over and over again, and they're not good enough. He should have actual questions written down, and he should have some that break up the type of questions he's asking. He asks the same kind of like deep, where did you find you? And the next one is like, how did you find you? And the next one's like, so after you found you, why did you? And I'm serious. This is literally what it was. It's like, I thought of a couple questions. Like, tell me 2 things that your kids really miss since you've been out of the White House. Funny, right? Just tell me something. Like, what's the family miss the most? Like, how was some light? Like, just give us some stories about it. Not just how she became who she was, but some of her experiences. Storytelling. It's a thing. Anyway, look into it. She was great.
I missed it. I was at a breakfast.
I know. And you
thought
you were going to be able to see it.
I thought, well, no, I knew I wasn't going to be able to.
You said they were going to stream it.
Yeah, but then they said we can't.
Oh, right. Because they were very clear. Like, everybody shut down everything. You cannot take pictures. You cannot do anything, which I don't know why particularly. Is it
security maybe?
Or maybe it's just...
her contract?
I think it's also a content thing. I think part of it's like, hey, there are some things you can just go sit and watch on the web. Like, you can watch almost all the keynotes on the web.
Right.
But this is like, hey, you want to pay your $1,700? You're only going to be able to go see, there's some things you can only see with your $1,700 bucks.
I was at the Girlforce breakfast,
awesome,
which got an official rebrand at the breakfast. It's now Amplify.
Yeah, I see it on your computer.
There you go. I'm wearing the sticker.
Yep.
So that was fun.
Then we had the Arkus lunch, which is not important for anybody, although we go to the same place. Nice. Shout out to Yang Sing. Then we booted over to the cloud. Then we just I basically wanted to go and do all the product keynotes because I feel like some were better than others. I'm not gonna really talk about the ones I didn't think were that interesting.
Service Cloud was I halfway through I went and met a client.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go meet a client.
The 2 that I think, let's just talk about the things we thought were the best.
Trailhead.
The Trailhead one. Yeah.
Trailhead was an amazing. It felt like the old school keynote.
It did. It was people you know. It was here's the stuff we're doing. It's the most excited. I'm really excited for Trailhead because it's the most exciting part of the company, and I can see why. I always ask in these podcasts. This podcast I listen to called CloudFocus Weekly. I'm like, what is with the trailization of this company? Why is everything Trailhead? And I know we have my whole thing about Astro, and everybody thinks I'm an Astro hater. I'm not. I love Astro. I just don't want it in my software. But I can tell, I know why now, because it's the most popular, it's the biggest growing, it's the most exciting part of Salesforce that they've had for a long time. Nobody's excited about IoT. Sorry, someone's excited about IoT. But I don't think most people can even describe what that is, and my IoT makes no sense. My Internet of the Things. What? What? My Air.
It's yours.
It's yours. But Trailhead is so personal, it's so community, it's so all this stuff that people are extremely excited about it. And so that keynote felt like, that and Try True to the Core, probably the admin one, which I couldn't go to, it's like the core of the people who are the most excited and they gave away the gold jackets and they recognized people and they talked about the big announcement in Trailhead, which is all they talked about My Trailhead, which is a customizable version of Salesforce,
right?
Of Trailhead, where you can build your own trails, include other people's trails, assign
Nailed
points.
it.
Yeah, you called it.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
Thanks,
My
buddy.
Trailhead. I didn't
call it My Trailhead though.
No. Well, everything's my, which again, I get it, but it's totally exciting. They demoed it. It looks great. I mean, by this time, if you listen to this podcast, you know about My Trailhead. But it's what you would think. It's the ability to take.
It was a little different than what I thought it was going to be.
Really?
It's actually better than what I thought it was going to be because I didn't realize that you were going to be able to mix your own and theirs.
Yep.
So if you want to do, for example, accounts and contacts, just pull theirs in and then just create your own to be like, okay, now that you have the basics, here's how we use them. Done.
And it has all the stuff that I thought. I mean, I thought they'd start smaller.
Oh, and it's different because it's all through the Trailhead platform and not in your org. Like you go to Trailhead and then there's a section there for like the internal stuff.
And everything's tagged as internal if it's internal.
Right. And they're unifying your identity across Salesforce, except for the poor Power of Us hub.
Yeah.
Which I talked to. It's political.
I
talked to someone who
I think
runs
Power of Us
things.
Hub wants to keep it a little bit separate. That's my guess.
They do.
Yeah.
And
that's why
others don't.
Oh. I think they like having it a little separate. I think that's
they also have really good engagement because I was told we have 99% answer rate to our questions.
Right.
99%.
They also will boot you out if you don't put up a profile picture within a certain amount of days. Like literally kick you out of it. So they're running their own. I could totally see why, and I think it makes sense. I asked that too. I asked that of Erica. I was like, why did you let them go off and do their own thing? They said, well, they had their own timeline. They wanted to get it done, and they wanted to control their own destiny. And I was like, now I get it. They run the Power of Us hub, as we've complained about sometimes on this podcast, in their own way.
Right.
And that's the way they want to rate. And I think that's actually kind of nice because that group needs protection. They're smaller. They're dealing with nonprofits, so they can get their own kind of like world and control their own destiny. Yep. So I get that. So My Trailhead, awesome. Merging profiles is coming. That's awesome. You can merge.
Again, you're gonna manage your identity there,
right?
And it's gonna
go
everywhere.
But I'm totally excited. And there's my prediction, which was that they were going to buy a content company or work with one, is not going to come true. That's not the way they're going to go with it. But it's a really, really, really interesting take on Trailhead. I think it's going to be...
Be careful.
I think be careful. I'm not going to say anything bad.
I'm just saying be careful.
Safe harboring everything. We were told next year, and we were told no pricing. We're not going to.
We were told nothing.
You cannot tell. You do not talk about pricing. So, I'll say this on the podcast. I'm hoping that they don't make the mistake of what I think they made the mistake of Work.com of overpricing it, they took something that existed, work.com, that had pricing. They then kept that pricing and then tried to build it into Salesforce. But when you're already paying the crazy amount of money we pay for those Salesforce licenses, anything on top of it feels harsh. So I think they should be very careful about the pricing. I'm hoping there's builder licenses that they want to make the money on the builder licenses for bigger firms that need like 10 or 15 writers, fine. But I feel like the low end, kind of like where they've come down with knowledge now, where knowledge reading is free, I'm hoping the low end doing all the badges stuff, and the consumption of it, I hope goes real low, like down in the dollar area, because then I think that will help people say, okay, I'm in, and roll it out, as opposed to, it's $15 a month, and then you really have to evaluate it. I think what they should do is make it so kind of low that they can just go with it, right? That people will, oh yeah, throw on that. Maybe they'll surprise me and they'll do more the knowledge way, and they'll say, listen, to build one, it's expensive. It's $100 a month or something. I think like knowledge builder is expensive, or marketing builder they used to have, or website builder, site builder, whatever they used to have, and then make consumption free. I don't think they're going to do that, but yeah. I'm hoping they will, because I wanted to. Here's the thing. I don't want to be looking around in 2 years or 3 years and going, oh, it's like work.com. It's dead. They literally end-of-lifed it because no one adopted it.
Right.
And that's the reality. No one adopted work.com because I think it was too expensive and didn't have enough value. Mm-hmm. So keep it lower. You predicting that they're going to bundle it with services.
No, with
customer service.
Didn't really predict it. I thought a good way to distribute it in terms of cost would be if you have Premiere Plus,
right? You
have this,
yeah.
And it's part of your customer success is to have this. Hey, that's my how I think they might do it.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a thing of when you give something to someone that they don't really need and they bought something else and you kind of add it on, the use of that goes down because they're like, well, I bought Premiere Plus because I did it for this reason. Now you give them this other thing. Maybe I will use it. Maybe I won't.
Well, it's like anything with Premiere. I mean, you have accelerators. Do you use them? Do you not? You should.
I hope they throw it in the dollar range. So they have the Identity Connect, which is Salesforce's feature that allows you to synchronize Active Directory with Salesforce. It's $1 per user per month, right? It kind of does this one thing. It's low cost. You have to roll it across everybody. I doubt they'll do it that way, but I'd love to see them go. It's so low that people are just like, sure. So we'll make money on it.
Right.
But sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tricky. That whole account merge thing is going to be extremely important. You can see why they did it. It's not so much to get your profile in order, which is great for people who have multiples like dupes, but it's more so that when you do the My Trailhead, you can do it, because I don't have a Trailhead account associated with our production org.
Neither do I.
But I'll probably need one.
Right. You'll need to associate it if you want it to show up in our production org when we say, hey, all your trails belong to us.
Exactly.
Or not belong to us, but we want to be able to do it. So they have the Trailhead tracker, which you've tried to install.
But can't work for us.
Right. So same thing.
Because it doesn't know who people are.
Anyway, Trailhead is, for the foreseeable future, there's going to be more Trailhead. More cowbell. Next day.
More Trailheart.
What are we talking about, Trailheart? Ooh. Oh, as you break the computer.
Bad. Wow. Oh, wow. That was glass on steel.
Metal. Trailheart is the way you write trailheads. It's like making sure that it's fun and exciting.
The Chris Duarte way.
Yeah, that's good. I think the content's important. There are some challenges, and we said, I think maybe we'll skip over. Is there anything on the Wednesday? We did True to the Core. We talked about that earlier. We talked about COA, but one of our favorite things, we got to sit down with Adam Torman and talk about all these things. And we challenged him. We said, hey, this is great. It's got all this hype now, but is it real? Have you proven that it's actually easier to learn this way? It's more fun to learn this way by far. But have you proven that? Looked at Trailhead versus sit down, in classroom versus whatever,
Yeah, we talked about lots of things like certifications versus super badges, right. And what's which one's more valuable, what's better.
Which I could pull up the podcast from 3 years ago where we sat down with him and had this conversation.
Right.
And I remember we talked about all this like literally talked about all this trailhead stuff.
Right.
And some of the things he said then, I actually think he's reversed on now, which is kind of interesting. I have to go back and listen. But there's, again, it's got a lot of steam behind it. It's got a lot of the push of the company. You can tell it's going to get a lot of development hours, which is awesome. And I hope that it merges and becomes something really, really awesome. Like that becomes bigger and better.
Bigger, better, faster.
But also, again, I don't want things that are, other things to be ignored.
Hey, what surprised you?
Most about Dreamforce this year? I've said this a couple times. It's funny because you spend the whole Dreamforce talking about Dreamforce. Like literally, that's all you talk about. I mean, to go on to other things.
How's your day? How's your show?
How's your Dreamforce?
How's it been?
Where'd you go? How'd you like Michelle? Like, what's going on? My most surprising thing was how small it felt. And I know that's crazy, but I swear they shouldn't. I actually didn't tell numbers. He didn't tell numbers in the keynote.
He didn't.
Yeah. Okay. It did not feel like every year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's one year I remember maybe 4 years ago where it hit maybe over 100 or 90,000 or something. And I remember we came back and definitely were podcasting and said, this feels overwhelming. This feels massive. I can't get anywhere. I don't know where to go. It's so many people. It's like I'm just in swamp.
It's still that way for people who are going for the first time.
Totally.
I sat in a meeting with a prospect of ours, and we sat there for an hour, and it was on Wednesday.
Right.
And they were still just like, completely overwhelmed.
Right.
And it was like, we don't know what to necessarily do. Like, can you guys help us? And we had helped them before, but it's like, can you help us like figure out the rest of the show, please?
And I think, but that's the natural evolution. I didn't feel the amount of people. I still was walking through the streets and saw people and like, oh, hey, it's you. Like literally just running into random people.
I think that there was that one year in particular, there was like a little bit of construction going on that corner of Moscone North, between, I guess it's like 4th Street and Howard. They had like a scaffold up, and it was like impossible to like walk through there.
Maybe
might have been before they closed off Howard Street.
I think it's some perception though. I would love to play a game called like the old thing where they throw M&Ms in a jar and they make you guess.
Yeah.
Like whoever gets closest without going over. I think that because
7
sitting in keynotes.
12.
Those keynotes were not the keynotes I remember where you could be 400 yards behind and not even like you could be miles away from Benioff. It was in a circle. It was small. They had it cut down. The expo was the expo size. It wasn't. They
you know what? I didn't even get in the expo.
They used to do double expos.
Did you go to the expo?
Yeah, a couple times. I walked the expo.
Where was it? I didn't even see it.
It was in South.
I didn't even go over there.
Or was it North? I don't know. Like that was the other thing. You couldn't go into one side, or like half of it was in construction, so you spent like time like circling around underground. I know there's a lot of security concerns this year with all the stuff that happened in Vegas. I know they changed up a lot of the way they did lines. They didn't want people standing outside for long periods of time, so they brought people inside. They put them into metal detectors. They redid a lot of stuff. I think it worked.
Did you go through a metal detector for Michelle?
Yes. But those are the only two
so
I
they
went
took
through.
them down.
Yep.
Because after the lunch, I went over and I went over to the, like, I guess the Service Cloud keynote was like later that day or something. And I was surprised because there were no metal detectors. And I was like, wait, there were metal detectors for the Mark Benioff keynote,
Yes.
but not for Michelle?
No, they did. They took them down.
Oh, okay. They took them down.
Yeah, they took them down. They moved them.
Yeah. Because that's what the line's rough is when there's metal detectors.
Here's how big Dreamforce is and how big Salesforce is. You now have, other than Destination Success being killed off, it's like you want small and intimate, you got the Dreamins, right? Go to Texas Dreamin', go to Midwest Dreamin', right? You want, all show in your house, you got the World Tours, which they don't call World Tours, they renamed it again. Whatever they all those things called, events. And then regional, fine. You want that? Great. You got a 1-day hit and run, you're out. You want the biggest, baddest thing in the world with all the speakers and all the thing? You got Dreamforce. You want very focused, drill in on sessions and admin specific stuff? You got Trailhead Live. Like, they've got all the stuff. Like, so you kind of get to pick. We happen to end up going to all of them, or I've gone to all of them now, I think. And, so for me, it's kind of like, well, some of it's repetitive, but you can pick, so you kind of get as much as little you want. If you're going to Dreamforce, you're getting everything, and you're getting, and it's massive. But if you don't want that, there's those regional ones, they get 500 people. You want a small conference? Go to a Dreamin'. You're kind of going to get the same content, which is one of my bones to pick, and I was clear with that. I talked to some people behind the scenes, and I said, I think you guys should do better, more regional content. Especially region. I'm like, why don't you do regional content? Do something about Texas. If you're Texas Dreamin', I want to have sessions that are like Texas specific. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, then it's regional. Like, oh, that's interesting. Anyway. And then what else? Anything else you want to talk about? So what surprised you?
The Google.
Justin, how was your Dreamforce?
So good. Two things, actually.
Two things?
Yeah. One they didn't really drill in on, but they talked about, which was the Google partnership.
I've been trying to read up on it because I was like, again, they talked about it.
Yeah, they just said it.
Yeah, I've read it up.
Didn't really drill in on it.
I've read the press releases and stuff. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Are they just going to run on Google infrastructure, or is it going to be apps? It's app integration stuff too.
That's too. So it looks to me, and again, this is just me from reading some press releases on the way back. It looks to me like it's one of those, you do a little for us, we'll do a little for you. I think the big underlying thing in it is Google didn't want to be left out of the Salesforce platform game. They want to be a cloud partner, right? Because Salesforce announced Amazon as one of their...
Last year, they rolled out Salesforce on AWS in Canada.
Right. I think Salesforce is trying to figure out how to scale. They know doing it, like building your own is no longer. Cloud is supposed to be ubiquitous, so I think that's the big one. Then they threw in that seems kind of self-serving if we just say that. Let's talk about other things. So they said there's going to be, in Google, you're going to have integrations into Salesforce, be able to pull data easier, better, like kind of what Quip is doing.
Right.
So I think that's part of it.
Some of those Quip live app things that they were showing were really cool.
Yep. There's even integration with Google Docs and Quip. Okay.
I don't know what that means, but all right.
Okay, me neither. Then there's better integrations inside Salesforce via Lightning. They'll have more. I think they're going to be able to like plug and play little pieces of Google Docs.
That's nice.
And maybe email into Salesforce. Right. So
that's nice.
So it's a mix and match.
Huh. They already have the email thing figured out with Gmail.
Yeah, I think it's going to get deeper. And if I were serious, I'd be a little bit worried because I feel like that's where they're going to go. Like they don't want a third-party partner in there. They said, like, why don't we just get one of us to do that? So I actually couldn't get anything. I saw a screenshot or two. I was like, okay, that was cool. And we just were talking about how Lightning doesn't even support freaking Google Doc attachments. Like you have to bounce back to Classic to click on a link, which is totally, totally terrible.
I had one more surprise.
What was your surprise?
Wasn't surprising that Will.i.am was there. And it wasn't surprising that Will.i.am was able to get up on the main stage at Dreamforce.
He definitely has pictures of Mark Benioff dancing naked in the rain.
But it was surprising that they let him announce another product.
You remember that? Well, I love that he spun it. And again,
he's like, we had this thing that we announced. It was so great. It was like the idea for the Apple Watch before Apple Watch. We talked to Mark, and he was like, it's not the hardware, it's the software.
Software's stupid.
So now we basically made Alexa.
Yeah. Again, the demo was cool. The video, it was not
great video.
It was not even a
you
very
can have
quality video.
Siri videos just like that.
I
Thanks, Will.i.am.
I saw some things that I thought in the Siri that I saw in that Siri can't do and Alexa doesn't do very well is continual contextual. Like, book me a flight to San Antonio and get me lunch. And what's the weather? So understanding that I'm still in context of talking about San Antonio.
I wish Will.i.am, I love that he does this stuff entrepreneurially. It's great.
And socially, he has some really powerful
I just
stuff.
wish that he would talk more on that stuff.
Yes.
His social stuff, his impact in the communities that he works in.
He's massive in it.
So big. And I wish that he would just stick to talking to us about that and leave his product stuff, let that just be.
Yeah.
Like, anytime a celebrity's come to Dreamforce and talked about a product, like, remember Neil Young, the Pono player?
Yeah.
Because that's revolutionary.
Well, let's go play mine. It's over there.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. I understand. Listen, he's like a buddy. He's clearly a buddy.
Clearly.
Literally, like, it's if I was Mark Benioff.
But he is definitely
like,
inspirational when he talks about the things that he's passionate about.
Last year. He talked about education,
and it was awesome.
And he had a video.
And it was great.
It was great. Do that.
Stay
out of this product stuff.
Yeah, we don't need it.
I don't want to say you're not good
at
it.
You don't have to stay out of it. Just
don't talk about it at Dreamforce.
Well, don't make it the only thing you talk about at Dreamforce. Like, you mention it at the end. Oh, and by the way,
I just don't even want it. It has nothing to do with what we're doing. It has nothing to do with Salesforce. It feels very just like again, it's like
forced.
It feels like forced. It feels like, hey, you just you told Benioff's like, all right, you can get 5 minutes. Just leave me alone.
Yeah,
literally. Or I don't have enough to announce, so I want you to go up there and announce something else. But overall, yeah, I had a great time. I think the secrets to running a great Dreamforce, it's all in my blog post, but, I know when to quit, too. Like, I don't, unlike you still haven't learned that yet. Maybe you learned that after
That's not true.
Oh, you didn't go to the concert this year. So
I did not.
So
it was just the last night when Arkus is throwing a party.
Yes, I was there for every minute of the party.
And then there's a little after party. You're going to go to the after party.
Yeah, that's when I say,
and then when you end up at a diner, you just end up at a diner at the end of the night. It just happens. And
you're still suffering for it.
I had some corned beef hash and eggs, and it was good.
I'll put in my tips, like, plan your meals better. I should say no matter what, start with a good breakfast. Like, I feel like there's...
Yeah, because then you could skip lunch.
Right.
And there's always time for dinner.
Right. And for dinner, right, you'll find something. You'll be at a bar, there'll be snacks.
Yeah, go somewhere. You can go somewhere and get dinner.
Yeah, I just find it very hard to sit down
Dinner's
and
easy.
do anything. Like,
Dinner's easy.
I think you should always, like, get breakfast in your body. Like, order it
to
your room.
That's a good tip. Schedule breakfast meetings and go and schedule dinners.
Yes.
That's it. Schedule them in advance.
Anything else we missed?
Probably a lot, but
probably
whatever.
But we just went 50 minutes on this.
That's good enough.
It was great seeing everybody. That's my favorite part. Everybody's going to say, what's your favorite part? It's definitely seeing people. I just enjoy. There's people I just don't see. I see them once a year, and I got to hang out with them.
I gave out so many hugs.
Yes.
So many hugs.
That Euro is sick, and I said, and actually the partner should not be named, wasn't giving out hugs. He gave 0 hugs because he's sick. And I felt bad because it's so nice to kind of like the Dreamforce hug. It doesn't matter who it is. You get a Dreamforce.
Everyone gets a hug.
You
get a hug, and you get a hug.
Right.
Not you, though.
Yeah.
I don't hug you.
I
don't hug you.
Oh, me?
You. I don't hug you.
I spent so much time with you. It's like a hug of the mind.
Ugh.
Ugh. All right.
Gross.
All right. Well, that's it. We're not gonna do picks, right?
My pick is my Dreamforce.
My pick is
my Dreamforce.
My pick is Trailhead Astro.
My Dreamforce.
We'll be back next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. We'll do other wrap up. We'll get back to the blogs and stuff like that. I have a cool blog I'm writing. That's not gonna be this week. I gotta push that off. That got killed by Dreamforce. So we'll have some blogs to talk about. We'll have some other things to talk about. I'm glad you all enjoyed. I got a lot of feedback on our podcast about the time when we had to stuff the T-shirt in the vent. Multiple people came up and said they were dying, literally just dying on the ground listening to us do that. I don't know what podcast that was. Go back and listen to it. Wow, 277 of them. That's a lot. So until then, we'll be back next week or the week after because, CloudFocus may be weekly. It's Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.